Let's talk about conventional loans compared to VA loans. Is one of them always the best? Well, no.
Vegas.
Most people agree that VA loans are preferred for reasons like no down payment, competitive interest rates, no mortgage insurance compared to conventional loans. However, there are times that a conventional loan might make more sense. Okay, so the big differences are a VA loan has zero down if somebody has full VA entitlement, whereas a conventional has no zero down. You've got to put down, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20%. You got to get to 20% for there to be no mortgage insurance. Okay, so that's the biggest difference. Conventional loans usually have higher interest rates, anywhere from 0.5% to maybe even a full percent delta. So obviously the larger the loan, the bigger difference that makes. I mean, 0.5%, even on a $1 million mortgage, it's a big difference. But there are times where conventional might make sense. Usually if somebody is already planning on making a large down payment. Okay, so I had this the other day. I actually had a veteran that I knew and served with. She was making, I believe it was 40% down. Okay, but she was not exempt from the VA funding fee. So in this case, the VA funding fee, if y'all remember, it's based on different first use versus subsequent use and based on your down payment amount. So in this case, it was going to be 1.25%. So when we started doing the math and I presented her, hey, here's option with VA, here's the option with conventional. Conventional actually made more sense when you factored in not having to pay that VA funding fee, because it was a larger purchase and that funding fee was going to be, thousands and thousands of dollars. And so there are times where I will advise people, hey, I know VA is generally better, but in this scenario, conventional is better. And then that keeps your VA entitlement open for a future purchase, because it's very common, especially when people are on active duty after they get out of the military and maybe they're raising a family and they get a job and then they move up in the job and then like, hey man, I'm ready to buy that forever home. Well then, yeah, it's really nice if you have that VA entitlement fully open. So the big difference between conventional and VA, obviously, interest rates, mortgage insurance, down payment requirements, but it's not always one is better than the other. It depends on the scenario. Very important you're working with a lender that obviously can do both and advises you and presents options and becomes a true advisor that's presenting both options so you can be educated and choose what's right for your purchase scenario.